Yo, what's up? It's SNT and you're watching episode 24 of the Bike Show. This is a weekly series where we check out some of your amazing bike builds that you have submitted to the email address that's down in the description and on the screen right now. But before we start this video and check out the amazing mopeds you guys have submitted to the show, make sure you leave it a big fat thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss a future video. But now let's get started with the first bike of the day, which is a Stage 6 77cc Beta RR from Finland. The engine is built with a Stage 6 77cc big racing cylinder, Stage 6 HPC crankshaft, ported the engine block, 28mm PWK carburetor, Polini 5-disc racing clutch, V-force free reed valve with a 5mm spacer, MVT digital direct inner rotor ignition, and a Scalvani exhaust with a FMF shorty muffler. I really like how clean this bike is with the Supermoto wheels, the factory graphics kit, the Yamaha YC front fender, then the KTM SX number plate with the light bar on top. It just looks so good and fits this bike perfectly. I honestly think that this bike looks more like a 125 than an actual moped. It just looks so much like a real bike. I feel like betas are pretty good at doing that, so this is definitely a really cool bike. Everything just works perfectly together and you have a really powerful engine setup. I don't have anything to add to this bike, then it's an absolute beauty. I like this moped a lot. You did a great job with this bike and I wish you the best of luck moving forward. Thank you so much for sending it in to the SNT Bike Show. Now we have a Stage 6 77cc Derbi Senda from Finland. If we start with the engine, it is built with a Stage 6 77cc big racing cylinder, Doppler racing crankshaft, Polini 28mm carburetor, Malossi carbon reed valve, Stage 6 RT clutch, Stage 6 high flow intake manifold, a Voca Cross 1890 exhaust with what looks to be a Gianelli muffler. I really like the color scheme you're going for on this build. I really like it a lot. The blue frame with the black toxic graphics kit you have on here, it looks really good and complements each other perfectly. And I also like the chrome and polish details you have on here, just like the wheels, handlebar, forks and muffler. It's just a cherry on top with the chrome, the black and blue. It's just such a nice color scheme. And that exhaust though, like that purple bluish tone on the exhaust, it just looks so good, like fits this bike perfectly. I don't really have anything else to add to this bike. It's an absolute beauty. I like it a lot. It has that raw race look, but it's still like perfected and nice with the color scheme. So thank you so much for sending it in to the SNT Bike Show. Next up we have a Gilera SMT 50 from Lithuania. I'm probably butchered that like crazy. I probably pronounced that way worse than it should have been. But yeah, that's my best shot at it, I guess. It has a beautiful light gray and yellow color scheme which looks absolutely amazing on this bike. And can we just take a moment to appreciate the transformation that this bike has gone through? It barely looks like the same bike anymore. And some of the parts on this bike include a Bidalot SMR 5070 exhaust, Delorto 17.5mm carburetor, custom ignition cover, a bunch of yellow details, a custom paint job, and a KTM EXE headlight with what looks to be a really cool headlight tint on there, which is like kind of holographic or whatever. I'm not too sure what it is, but it looks really good and definitely adds to the overall aesthetic of this bike. It's a really beautiful bike. I really like the way you have executed this build and designed it and just thought about it. Just everything just works perfectly together. Every part on this bike just fits the color scheme that you've gone for. It just works perfectly together. You have the black base with the light gray plastics and the yellow details going all around the bike. There's nowhere where you don't have those colors. It just fits this bike perfectly. I just like it. It's just such a well executed bike. Attention to detail is on point. It just looks so good. And like everything, I don't have anything else to say about this bike. You even made the license plate holder look good on this bike. Like it fits this bike perfectly. And the KTM headlight, it usually doesn't look too good on Derbi Sendas, but on this bike it fits perfectly, especially with that tint you have on there. I'm not too sure what tint that is, but it looks really good. And the color you're going for on the plastic, this like Nordo gray, light gray, whatever it is, looks so good, just so clean. It just works so good together. You did a fantastic job with this bike. Thank you so much for sending it in to the SNT Bike Show. Now we have a 2019 Rieju MRT from Sweden. This bike has a lot of cool parts which makes it stand out from the rest of the MRTs that are out there. For example, the front suspension is from a Suzuki RM250, so both the front forks and the red triple clamp is from a 250, which is pretty cool. The engine is tuned with a Athena 70cc sport cylinder, Technigas Inox exhaust with a Scalvini muffler, the Lorto 21mm Black Edition carburetor, top performance V-Force free reed valve, 24mm intake manifold, sport air filter, and a 1353 gearing, which is a really nice engine setup. It adds a lot of power while still not going over the top and making it way too crazy. I feel like it gets the job done, and it's definitely a good moped setup. The only thing I'm curious about is the sport air filter. If you have a open air filter, why you wouldn't have gone for a airbox. I'm not sure if that's what you mean. Maybe you have a sport air filter in an unrestricted airbox, but if you have like an open foam air filter on an enduro bike, I don't know how that works. Maybe I'm missing something, but yeah, I don't know. But overall, it seems like a really good engine setup, and I'm sure it's a lot of fun to ride as well, even though maybe some stuff doesn't really make sense to me, but I just might be missing something, who knows. It just looks really good as a dirt bike, and it has come a long way since you bought it, both in terms of performance and in terms of looks. I'm sure it's a lot of fun to ride as well, and yeah, it's a really cool bike in general. So thank you so much for sending it in to the SNT bike show. Last bike of today is another Stage 6 77cc Beta RR from Finland. He bought it stock in a pretty rough condition and rode it like that until he got his license. But then 1 month after he got his license, the engine blew up and he had to rebuild it. So he got a Aircel 50cc racing cylinder, but he realized really quickly that that was not the right choice. He was not happy with the power. He wanted a lot more out of the cylinder, so he decided to go all in and do a Stage 6 engine build, which includes a Stage 6 77cc big racing cylinder, Stage 6 HPC racing crankshaft, V-Force free reed valve with a Doppler spacer, 26mm PWK carburetor, and an MVT S-Race exhaust. And he also completely redid the entire look of this bike. He got a KTM EXE headlight, painted the frame and swing arm red, and also made the plastics white, which looks so good. White and red is a really nice color scheme, and it fits this bike perfectly. I really like how you have the white plastics, the red frame, the black shock absorber, the black wheels, and then the red muffler on that exhaust. It just looks so good, and it all works perfectly together. It's a really cool and beautiful Beta RR. I don't really have anything else to add to it. Then it's a beautiful bike. Thank you so much for sending it in to the SNT bike show. But that was the 5 amazing bikes from this week's bike show. If you have not already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and join the squad on the road to 20,000 subscribers, and eventually the road to 100,000. Just hit the red subscribe button, turn it grey, and join the squad. But that is pretty much it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, it's been your boy SNT, and I'll see you in the next one.